Before we begin here, we have to do a shot in memory of Kevin Randleman, who just recently passed away at the beginning of the month here. I know, Good Vibe, you don't know who Kevin Randleman is yet, but in future prides, he will be a big attraction.
Well, that's a shame.
Yeah, so here's the Kevin Randleman, a great MMA fighter. He will be missed.
Cheers.
We just did a shot of Jaeger for anyone interested in what shot we were doing. And that was probably, I don't know how many calories are in Jaeger, but today is like one of my fasting days. So I'm serious. I like try and eat 2 days a week. I try and eat like 600 calories or less.
Jesus Christ. You know what today my day is? My day is not my fucking fasting day.
Yes. Oh, I guess that will be a celebration shot as well. It's a dual shot because it is Good Vibes' birthday today. So happy birthday, Good Vibes.
And I've eaten 2 steaks today.
Fuck, where do you put it?
I don't know, man. In the fucking toilet in a moment, I'll tell you that much.
Meanwhile, the only thing I've had so far today is some coffee. I had a 100-calorie yogurt, and I will not be able to drink the Stella. So.
Oh my God, what?
Good Vibe is having some Stella.
Ah!
Welcome everybody to Pride Resurrection, where we take a look back at the Pride Fighting Championship. I am the most dangerous man alive today, and joining with me,
the Colombian Good Vibe, ladies and gentlemen.
The Colombian Good Vibe. Today we're going to be talking about Pride Fighting Championship number 3.
And, 1 second, because I think the viewers should know. I don't think we've established this before. I know nothing about fighting.
That's right.
I am here to make references to the most odd shit I can see.
I am the straight man, and he is the comic relief.
I am Penn, he is Teller.
Exactly. I provide the insight and specifics on the fights, and he just chimes in with bullshit every now and then.
Amen to that. So if you know nothing about fighting, do not feel left out. That's why I'm here.
But that's why I love him. So let's talk about Pride number 3. That's what we're here to do, talk about Pride number 3. It's June 24th, 1998 in Tokyo, Japan, and a hot summer night in Japan needs only one thing. Hot man-on-man, MMA action.
Woohoo!
Held at the Nippon Bokodan in front of 4,500 fans, Pride number 3 would showcase only 6 MMA bouts. If you watched episode 2, you'll remember that kickboxing, which had been featured in the previous Pride events, was finished. No more kickboxing fights in Pride.
Oh no, we will miss it.
So from here on out in Pride, it's only MMA bouts. Once again, we see Steven Quadros and Boss Rutten. Steven is doing play-by-play with Boss Rutten joining in for color commentary and other random nonsense. 1
second. Before we start on the actual event, now, I know in previous recordings, we've talked about just how shitty the production is on this DVD. But this was the first time you actually gave me the DVD.
Yeah.
And I've come to realize just how worse it is. Why? Because when I played it on my computer, A, you can't fast forward that shit. B, for some reason, the timer on the play timer decides to reset. So I'm 30 minutes into a fight. I don't know. It says 6 minutes. I'm like, I think you're fucking lying to me. So, oh my God, this is just terrible. Yes, well, so they're making advancements on these DVDs because it doesn't come on a shitty double-sided disc anymore. It came on just a single-sided disc. They actually tried to create like some intros for the fighters before the They did. I was surprised about that. That was awesome.
Something, yeah.
No, but I mean, some of those intros were not flattering.
No.
Like the first intro, what was it? Matsuya was the fighter's name?
You're talking about Daijiro Matsui?
Yeah, Matsui. Oh my God, his intro made him look retarded. Like, just the stuff, like, the way he was training, it's like, oh my God, I have more hand-eye coordination than him.
He was pretty cross-eyed, so I don't know if that bothered him. And of course, they included, once again, just as filler, they included the history of Pride, which...
I did not watch the extras. I just did the fights. That's about it. Regret some of the fights, but we'll get into that later.
So they're slowly but surely they're improving the DVD.
Okay, we're coming to you live from the Nippon Budokan in Tokyo, Japan. Hi, my name is Stephen Quadros. I'm here with my partner, Boss Rutten, and welcome to the Pride Fighting Championships number 3.
Quadros welcomes us in for fight number 1, which sees Daijiro Matsui, who stands in at 5'9", 199 pounds, and was 25 years old at the time. His MMA record was an impressive 0-0. And he is facing off against one Akira Shoji, who stands...
Shoji.
Who stands 5'8", 194 pounds, and was 24 years old. He had an MMA record of 2-1-2. That's 2 wins, 1 loss, and 2 draws. So just who is Daijiro Matsui? After training in amateur wrestling, Matsui sought his fame in pro wrestling, joining the Union of Forces Wrestling International, aka the UWFI. There he trained under one Nobuhiko Takada.
Of course.
Who we will see in the main event of this very Pride 3. The UWFI went belly up in 1996, and so Matsui joined the Kingdom promotion along with Kazushi Sakuraba, who we'll also see later on. Kingdom itself went under in 1998, leading Matsui here to Pride Fighting Championship. Akira Shoji is coming off a huge victory in Pride 2, and he is looking to continue his success here against another Takada lackey. Pre-fight, I just have this note. Wow, look at the size of Matsui's fucking melon head. Shit, it's gigantic.
No shit, but I will say this. I actually have a note. Not about the head itself. Just about the physical build of these guys. It's kind of weird because you have Matsui, who's a professional wrestler, so he's a lot better toned.
Yes.
Than Shoji was.
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of crazy. I also have the fact that, and maybe I'm wrong, this is the first fight we have where both fighters are the same nationality.
Yes. Yeah, I think so. Yes.
I was surprised.
I think so. I'd have to double check, but I think you're right there. Quadros brings up the Takada Dojo. And you know what their motto is at the Takada Dojo?
We fucking lose every time?
Come wrestle a dude.
So I want to point out, and it's one of those things, I don't know if it happened in the previous Prides, and I just didn't notice it. Shoji is freaking hella white for an Asian. Like, he is pale. He is hella pale. Almost reflective.
I will bring this up. I talk about this later, about the differences about Akira Shoji and Matsui here. To me, Shoji is seemingly aging backwards. He looks younger here than Pride 1. It just must be his snot-nosed bully haircut that he's got right now. So we go into round number 1. Boss Rutten immediately gets a smart mouth after Quadros calls Shoji's trunks multicolored.
Shoji on the left with the multicolored trunks.
That is, if you call black a color, then.
They are! They're black and red. That is multicolored.
And according to Boss, if you call black a color.
It is a color.
Shoji and Matsui circle. Will they punch? Quadros wonders. After almost a minute of posturing, Matsui shoots in but comes away with nothing for his efforts. Shoji with a 1-2. Matsui responds by shooting in again and completely missing again.
By the way, since you've given us the history and he is part of the Nobuhiko training,
Takada,
it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
It really doesn't.
He immediately wants to wrestle a dude. That's what he's going for. Shoji winds up on top after Matsui's missed shoot in here, and after a brief moment, he stands. Shoji's glove is fucked, so the ref fixes it. Insightful comment from Quadros on the purpose of the glove.
These gloves are to protect the hands as well as the face or body of the opponent.
Okay, once again, since, I'm not a fighter background or whatever, I noticed certain things. Like, for example, why is the ref wearing, doctor gloves?
In case the fighters start bleeding, there's AIDS?
Wouldn't that be a check you do before you get someone in the ring? Like I saw that and I'm like, that's what I thought too, but I'm like, huh, That makes no sense to me.
He's a germaphobe, possibly?
Possibly, I don't know. All Japanese are germaphobes from what I hear.
When they walk around with the mask
Yeah.
on. The two exchange, and Matsui spots a bee on Soji's foot as he clumsily dives to chase it away. Soji takes Matsui's back and delivers a couple strikes before they end up in the ropes as Matsui offers up some pepper to go with Soji's assault.
I want to point out, and I don't know if you noticed it, Quadro kept calling Matsui Soji. It's like, oh, Soji's in the ropes, Soji's in the ropes. I'm like, what?
Shoji, halfway out of the ring, chopping away with his own left hand. That's almost like a bit of comedy here. Shoji hanging out of the ring.
Yes, Matsui dangles from the ropes, and wow, this position looks very dirty. The ref kindly grabs Matsui and guides him into a Soji punch. Thanks, ref. Surprisingly, this pro wrestler fires back with some strikes of his own. Back to the center, there's a lull in the action. Another misfire takedown attempt. As Soji sprawls, he ends up in side mount after Matsui lands on the ground.
I want to point out, like, the entire time so far, I've been looking at Matsui and I've been thinking, he's doing the trademark I have no clue what I'm doing technique that was probably taught in pro wrestling.
Yes. Taught specifically by Takada.
No kidding. My God. Just nothing. He's not landing jack shit. Like, even the commentators are like, he's not even setting anything up. He's not doing anything.
No.
He's just going. Like, he's half a mile away and still goes for the dive.
Yes.
It's like, holy shit.
Soji obviously can spot these shots coming in a mile away. Soji tries to take mount from his half guard or his side control position, but Matsui counters and he escapes. Back to circling in the ring. Matsui slaps Soji's left leg with a bitch kick. Quadros makes a comment here. He believes that these two are true sportsmen.
I get the feeling that neither one of these gentlemen will ever break the rules. True sportsmen in the ring.
And he's absolutely right. Neither man would ever lose via DQ in their careers.
Well, that's interesting. Well, I mean, did any Japanese ever lose by DQ?
I'm pretty sure in the history of MMA there has been some DQ.
Well, I mean in the history of MMA, but I mean in the history of Pride.
We will see. Since we're only in Pride number 3, we may get to a DQ or two. Another bad shot by Matsui. He's admonished by Quadros on the need to set up the shot. Absolutely 100% correct. Soji has a front headlock position. Matsui ever so slowly works Soji towards the ropes as Soji fires a knee or two. Once they arrive at the ropes, Soji spins, ending whatever Matsui had planned for those ropes.
Once again, I don't like the ropes. I just don't.
Well, see, that's where I differ. I like the ropes. I like the ring. The cage is fine, but you know what? There's something grandiose about the ring and the ropes.
I understand that, but the ropes just give you more of a, let's call it a bitch escape when you're not that good at fighting.
Sure.
Like every pro wrestler that has stepped on here.
From here they stand and Soji delivers 2 knees right in the breadbasket on Matsui. They scramble, clinch, and drop. Soji lands on top. Boss has clearly been drinking as he absent-mindedly tries to interpret Soji's corner. The ropes in Los Angeles?
A rope in Los Angeles.
What the fuck are you doing, boss?
I don't think he stopped drinking since last Pride. I think that's what's going on.
I was laughing out loud because Boss Rutten, he's listening to Soji's corner and he's trying to repeat what they're saying, and they're saying something in Japanese and he has no idea, so he just says whatever it sounds like. It is hilarious. Soji takes mount. Matsui rolls. Soji holds on, takes Matsui's back, but Matsui slips out the back. Nice sequence. They scramble and are back on their feet. They clinch. Soji gets a body lock and tackles Matsui down into full guard. The crowd is so quiet you can hear the loud huffing and puffing from Wow, Quadros and Boss are in love with these two, showering praise on the action. They really are into this fight.
Yeah, but yeah, we have to say, you will never know. But it looks like they're gonna have a good career, man.
Yeah, because both these guys, to me, are action-packed. I think they've got huge potential just by watching this so far.
Look at this. Action-packed was exactly the word that I wanted to say a second before you said. This is what people want to see. Both of these guys, doesn't matter winning or losing, they want these guys back.
Last 1 minute of the round, they stand, take a breather, and Matsui throws a slapping left leg kick. Matsui shoots in with seconds remaining as Shoji dodges, is about to strike, and then the round ends there. We have 10 minutes down. Between rounds, Shoji declines a drink of water, but not a finger, which he suckles briefly.
I missed that. I most definitely missed that. I was watching the girl. The sign girl? She was cute. She was cute this time around, man. I don't even know if they had any beforehand, but the one they had today.
And here's my comment. What the fuck could have been on the end of his cornerman's finger that he would want to put in his mouth? I have cocaine here.
There's cocaine and, a bunch of different stuff around at the time. And I started experimenting a little bit then with it. Taking cocaine for the first time is, the sense of euphoria and alertness. It almost feels like you have Spider-Man senses. Like I can hear an ant walk across, the floor from 30 feet away, and I could smell, I can smell you 2 blocks away, and, it's just a huge sense of euphoria.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Cocaine, a rock of cocaine is offered up to Shoji, which he puts into his mouth.
That'll give him energy, man.
Yes, absolutely. Round 2. Be the Boss, joke by Quadros, followed by Boss doing impressions.
Who is the boss? B-O-S-S.
I just want to say, who's the boss, Rutten? Just kidding.
I was only kidding.
Thanks, Boss. Matsui strikes, but Shoji grabs him and trips him down. The ref halts the bout to reset them as they were in the ropes. Shoji stands, and Matsui seems hesitant to stand himself, but does after a moment. They circle a bit before Matsui must see the bee once again on Shoji's foot. The same bee! He errantly falls towards Shoji's foot. Shoji takes Matsui's back. This has been a repeating cycle here. Matsui rolls, and in a beautiful sequence, he spins and winds up in Shoji's guard. Very nice. Quadros and Boss absolutely love it.
In the gym, but in the ring, he really comes out.
Wow, beautiful move.
Yes.
Matsui throws a few strikes. Shoji pushes him off, and they both stand as Matsui attacks Shoji as he is standing.
Now, honestly, up until this point, Matsui he has not been that impressive to me. So, for me, it speaks more because last Pride, Shoji was amazing. His improvement upon Pride 1 was just monumental. So it makes me think that Shoji's more one of those people that rises up to his opponent. So his opponent last time was a great fighter, so he was a great fighter.
Yes.
This one, I'm like, Shoji should have taken this in the first round.
Yeah, against a pro wrestler with a 0-0 record, maybe you're right. Maybe
and not even a 0-0 record, because that doesn't tell you anything. Yeah. But after the first 5 minutes of the first round, Matsui doesn't know jack shit of what he's doing.
You might be 100% right. Shoji rises to whoever his opponent is. And in this case, his opponent is just a wrestler who wants to wrestle a guy. Can't you just give him a break? He just wants to hold you, Shoji. Just wants to hold you.
Well, Shoji fucking, he's up there. He likes being held. Because sweet merciful heavens, this fight, I'm not going to lie, this fight, I zoned out because it should have been over in the first round.
It should have been. Shoji is pushed into the corner, but instead of keeping pressure, Matsui simply lets him out. A side kick by Matsui, but it misses. Where is Matsui from? This is where I start questioning between the differences between Matsui and Shoji. Where is Matsui from regionally? Was he born in Okinawa? He's definitely got that darker complexion, very dark compared to Shoji, who is pale white. And I will say this. Shoji is similar to a lot of Japanese, where they have the more paler skin. And then I can only guess that Matsui is from one of the islands like Okinawa, where they get...
And you're right. It might be the contrast between them both that makes Shoji just look even whiter.
Yes.
Because this son of a bitch looked reflective. Like, if the moon was out, you could see Shoji.
They don't even look like they're from the same country or they're both Japanese.
No, they don't.
But again, I don't know a whole lot about Japanese ethnicity and different regions of Japan and if they produce different looking...
I don't know either, but I'm racist enough to assume.
Matsui misses again with a terrible takedown attempt. Shoji sprawls and takes Matsui's back. The boys take a breather as Shoji just merely holds on to Matsui. Shoji finally opens up with some strikes to Matsui's fat giant head. Matsui tries to grab Shoji's leg, but nothing comes out of it. Matsui rolls out of Shoji's grasp and turns to get his back, getting his head stuck in the ropes. Matsui tries to return some strikes at Shoji, but he's in a very bad position, and there's no way he can strike from here underneath the ropes. 3 minutes left in round number 2. The ref stops and restarts them out of the ropes with Shoji still on top. Quadros and Boss are very into this match. They keep continually praising it, and they're debating and talking about what is going to happen.
But this is one of those things I caught on, and to me it seems hypocritical. Because the very similar style to this fight we had in Pride 2. And in Death Pride, both of them were just saying, "Oh my god, this is so boring. Let's do shitty karaoke."
Are you talking about Renzo Gracie versus...
Yeah. You know, it was the exact same thing. Most of the time they spent on the ground. And Boss and Quadro were like, they were singing the Sound of Silence. What is it? Sound of Silence?
Yeah, Boss was singing the Sound of Silence.
Yeah. So it's just so weird. In one fight they're saying, "Oh, this is so boring," and then they get here, I'm bored. I'm zoning out, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, this is the best fight we'll ever see."
Shoji lays on top with not a whole lot of action here, before Matsui pushes Shoji away and tries to get him onto his back. This attempt fails, but Matsui manages to get onto his knees instead of being on his back. Last 1 minute of the round, Shoji is holding Matsui in a forward headlock. Matsui suddenly bursts up and manages to stand, grabbing Shoji's left leg along the way, but it only lasts a brief moment as Shoji drags him back down. We end here with nothing really happening. End of round 2, 20 minutes down. In between rounds, bring out the beer bong as Matsui or the... So it's like a garden hose attached to an old metal funnel that's been very beat up that he spits into.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm so zoned out because of how bored I am at this fight. I did not notice this.
You'll have to see.
Yeah, I'll have to rewatch it.
And they use the same beat up metal funnel attached to a garden hose, which the fighters spit into throughout the whole event. So this must be official Pride equipment here. Round 3 starts out a bit slow. Matsui breaks up the silence with a right to which Shoji counters. Measured circling and feints. Quadros and Boss talk about the popularity of pro wrestling in K1 in Japan.
But the irony is that in Japan, pro wrestling is huge, but also the striking contest of the K1, which is a kickboxing show, that's hugely popular. So, I mean, they've really got it all over in Japan.
Shoji charges in with a punch, but glances off of Matsui, who counters with a couple strikes himself. Shoji body locks Matsui and trips him right down to the canvas.
By the way, I will say this because, you know, we're already on the third round. Matsui has actually been almost learning as he goes. Because he's had a couple dives where they're not as terrible as they were at the beginning.
Right, and I think he's actually trying some different things with his takedown attempt here.
Which makes me wonder if he even practiced before, because these are all things that you probably would have figured out if you did some live, you know.
Right. I think if he would have been training with an American wrestler, he would have known to set up his takedowns with maybe a punch and then you shoot in. Yeah. Instead of just shooting in from half the ring over.
No shit.
Trying to grab the guy's foot. Not even trying to get into his body, but grab his foot.
Yeah.
But of course we know that there was the bee there that he wanted to... Apparently Shoji must be allergic to bees, which is why his wild reaction.
Matsui is a gentleman.
Matsui. Quadros calls Matsui Matsui. So that is his official name from now on. Matsui!
Matsui, look at this.
Stay seated as Shoji keeps his distance. So Matsui's on the ground and Matsui stays seated as Shoji just sort of stays away. Matsui looks like he just walked in on his grandparents fucking. The look on his face. This guy has... I thought Sakuraba had some stupid fucking looks on his face. This guy's looks are just as bad.
Well, like, honestly, like we mentioned before, his intro video. His intro video just shows you what his face is capable of when it comes to the stupid looks.
Yes. So there'll be plenty more stupid looks from Matsui here, as you have no idea what he's looking at. But I will fill in what he's looking at. Finally, Matsui stands... and Shoji seems to be taking a breather. Quadros calls it him looking frustrated. No, I think Shoji's just a little bit winded here. Okay, back to Matsui. Matsui rushes in, but doesn't land anything. Shoji steps in for a soft left, followed by a stiff right. Deep shot by Matsui, and he finally gets a takedown. Hooray, Matsui! Matsui on top, but they are in the ropes. The ref stops and restarts them closer towards the center of the ring. Shoji has him all wrapped up. Light head strikes by Matsui. Boss calls them a waste of energy. I agree. Matsui cross-faces Shoji, to which Shoji tries to push him off. Matsui lands 2 nice shots before Shoji stands, grabs Matsui, and Matsui falls to the mat. Shoji delivers 3 good strikes before backing away. Why would you back away here, Shoji? So here's another dumb look by Matsui.
You know what Matsui was looking at? The fact that Nobuhiko was not in his corner. Did you notice that?
Oh, yes. Well, Takada's in the back preparing for his fight.
Yeah, but I mean, it feels sad. First person in that dojo that doesn't get him out the corner, man.
Shoji stands before Matsui, but doesn't engage him. Why? Then he waves Matsui up, who decides instead to shoot in for a takedown. Matsui misses on his shot attempt, and Shoji holds him in a forward body lock. Shoji seemingly throws a knee towards Matsui's head, but that's not allowed. Shoji tries to punch Matsui, then moves to take his back. I think I got what I've written here. Matsui dashes away and lands on his back, then he stands up. I hope that's right. We'll see if the editing proves me right here. Matsui has a big lump behind his right ear, and I wonder where the hell it came from. Both are standing, and they circle. Quadros thinks both men have effectively neutralized each other. Could be.
Which is honestly more of an insult to Shoji and a compliment to Matsui.
Yes, absolutely. Terrible, bad, ugly shot by Matsui, and Shoji gives him a few lumps before taking his back. 1 minute left in round 3. Matsui tries to go for a toe hold, but then he ends up hooking Shoji's foot, going for an Achilles stretch. Shoji seems fine, and for those of you in the game, so to speak, an Achilles tendon stretch can't break anything. It hurts. And if you can withstand the pain, that's it. It's not going to break anything. It's sort of, you hook the foot underneath your armpit and you like stretch the calf up. It hurts, but it can't break anything. So as long as you can withstand the pain, you don't need to tap. The bell rings, ending round 3. 30 minutes are done. Though we were all expecting the fight to be over here, Boss and Quadros included, we instead get, what's this, one more round?
Well, you know what? That is the benefit of never saying what the actual rules are. Is you get to make shit up as you go. Because you know what? When I watch a 30-minute fight in which, let's be fucking honest, nothing really happened, you know what I think? 10 more minutes. That'll fucking solve it.
Apparently, this is an overtime round. Boss seems...
Yeah, it's over my time of interest.
Boss seems unsure if this quote-unquote extra round is 5 minutes or 10 minutes, including us all. What the fuck is going on?
I can pray for 5 minutes.
No one seems sure of the rules in Pride, including the commentators. And here I have in parentheses, would it have been prudent to make sure your commentators know what the fuck is happening? Apparently not. Either way, the crowd seems very interested.
Now, 1 second.
In this fight.
Is it because they didn't know? Or is it because they got too drunk and forgot?
Option A or option B? Yes, the crowd is very interested and engaged in this fight. Matsui throws a head kick, but misses. Matsui body kick, but misses. Matsui shoots in for a takedown, and guess what? He misses. See the theme here? Boss begs for knees from Shoji.
Boom, knees, rain knees.
And actually, after a little bit, complies, throwing a couple knees here. Shoji then stands up for some reason and asks for Matsui to stand up as well. Quadros sounds a bit frustrated here.
I can't really picture either one of these guys defeating the other.
No, me neither. This is going to be a draw. This is going to be till the end. It's not going to be a knockout or a submission.
Is it going to be
foreshadowing?
He calls this fight a cat chasing its shadow. Quadros vents about the lack of head striking in this fight. Some soft exchanges from both men here. What the fuck? Matsui slips on a banana peel dropped by the referee. I'm not shitting you. Maybe you missed it.
I need to go back to this fight, but I need to make sure I can fucking fast forward through the rest of the fucking bullshit, or I'll be asleep by the time this fucking point gets here.
Maybe you missed it, maybe you all missed it, but I guarantee you that's what happened. That's the only thing I can explain Matsui's fall there. Matsui scoots on his butt and stands as Shoji lazily throws a kick towards him. Matsui charges in and swings errantly as Shoji cracks him with a right hook. Matsui shoots in, and we are back on the mat. Of course, Matsui missed. Quadros calls this an epic fight. What the fuck? I'm not sure if this is sarcasm here because he was
It better be, because or else he is that goddamn drunk. There is nothing epic about this. The only thing epic about this is how long it's fucking lasted.
He was just shitting on the match a few minutes ago.
But then a few minutes before that, they were calling one of the best matches they've fucking seen.
Ah, yes. I don't know. They must have been doing heavy drinking.
Heavy fucking drugs at this point, man. I'm pretty sure I've hallucinated less on mushrooms.
As Matsui is on the ground here, Shoji postures up and starts swinging away, smacking Matsui a couple times. Matsui immediately stands up, but Shoji stays with him, smacking him some more. Matsui either crumples to the ground or tries to shoot in, I'm not sure, and we're back on the mat. Boss jokingly says that Shoji must be listening to them commentating, to which Quadros confirms because they're giving some direction to Matsui or Shoji here, and Shoji seems to be listening.
We should talk more like this, and apparently they're listening to us. This is where fatigue hits. See if it works.
He's looking at us, yeah, he looked at me. I think he heard our instructions.
I really think so.
Shoji, now listen, can you hear me?
As Shoji looks towards the corner. Matsui has a bloody nose. Shoji knees, sneaking one to the head. Don't do that. Hammer fists by Shoji, and more! Body shots by Shoji. Matsui gets up. There's 3 minutes left in what Boss believes is the real final last round of this fight. God, I hope so.
No shit.
Shoji charges in with strikes. Then, as Matsui grabs his neck, Shoji slams him down. Now, I'm sure Shoji is listening to Quadros, because in spite of Quadros declaring that nothing will happen here,
I really don't picture anything significant happening.
Shoji goes for the mount and actually tries to do something. Matsui bucks and rolls, slipping out the back, almost getting on top, then falling through the bottom of the ropes. These guys love to go towards the ropes here.
No, Matsui loves to go to the ropes. He goddamn loves those ropes. I'm pretty sure he was raised by those ropes.
He's so used to pro wrestling and the rope break, you know.
No shit. That's the thing. That's why I don't like those ropes. With all these pro wrestlers that suck at fighting.
The ref stands him up. They touch gloves. They circle. They look at each other. Then the announcer over the PA signals 1 minute left. Matsui shoots in. Shoji sprawls, lands on top. Shoji goes for his back. Matsui rolls, and Shoji is left with nothing. Matsui stands. He charges forward. Shoji grabs him, and they nearly fall out of the ring once again. Right after this exchange, the bell rings. And after 4 rounds or 40 minutes of fighting, the fight is declared a draw.
A draw. That is one of the most ridiculous calls ever. Matsui did jack shit.
So you're calling it for Shoji all the way?
Oh my god. Matsui missed at least 90% of his shit. You know, like every time he dove, it was useless.
And Shoji was more effective in striking. He was more effective in the positions.
He was more effective of everything. The only thing Matsui was effective at is getting the fuck out to the ropes.
Well, we know where you stand on Matsui.
Yeah, no shit.
He's
the oh my god, I keep forgetting his goddamn name. Nobuhiko. I know he was trained by him. Trust me.
Takada was in the back, very intently watching this fight and nodding approvingly at all of Matsui's moves.
No fucking shit, man.
I have here, this was an okay fight, but we didn't get a fulfilling ending, and I know your thoughts on this. What happened with these two fighters here? Well, Akira Shoji would return for Pride number 4, but not before main eventing GMC Valley Tudo Japan, an MMA event held a few months before Pride number 4. As for our pro wrestler Daijiro Matsui, he would also return in Pride number 4, yay, facing off against Sine Kakuta. Remember him from Pride 2?
Yeah, I will say this, and honestly, let's call it a little bit of foreshadowing. One of the things I've noticed about some of these Japanese pro wrestlers is that for some reason their first fight is always just the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen. Like, you know, they think, oh, I'm going into an MMA fight. I don't need to do jack shit because I'm a pro fighter. I'm a pro wrestler. But then after their first fight, then they realize, holy shit, I suck. And then they'll actually train.
Right.
So if he's coming back, I'm waiting to see this match because I assure you he's gonna be a lot fucking better.
Hold on here a second. Think about this for a second. And I'm sure the Pride matchmakers were thinking about this as well. Let's take a guy who was in a 53-minute fight, Sine Kakuta, and put him up against a guy who was in a 40-minute fight. Magic is bound to happen. Has anyone ever watched an 80-minute fight before?
Oh, fuck.
Oh.
I swear to God, if that happens, I'm quitting. Plain and simple. I already told you last time, and you promised me there would be no more fucking useless fucking long fights.
No,
and what's the fucking first thing that happened? A fucking long useless fucking fight.
I said it was a much better show because the fights were not as crazy long as the Pride number 2.
Oh my god.
Sees Daiju Takase, who stands 6 foot, 209 pounds, and is 20 years old at the time. He had an MMA record of 0-0, and he is facing off against, what the fuck, Emmanuel Yarborough. 6'8", 600 pounds, and was 33 years old at the time. Manny's record here was just 1-1. Fuck Daiju Takase, let's tackle the elephant in the room.
Oh my god,
Manny
first of all,
Yarborough.
what the fuck is this fight about? No, this is not an MMA fucking fight. This is a goddamn circus act.
Exactly.
This is all it fucking is.
This is...
Pride, no, the name of this event is no longer Pride. Fuck that. There is no pride in this fucking
It's
fight.
still Pride, and this is pure spectacle, which MMA has always been about.
But that's the thing is, if your event is called Pride, don't throw spectacle fighting into it.
Oh, let's talk about Emmanuel Yarborough.
How the fuck can he walk?
Trained in judo. Manny first took up collegiate wrestling at Morgan State University, a historically black college in Baltimore, Maryland. There, he wrestled in the unlimited weight class, basically an open weight class that no longer exists in collegiate wrestling. In 1983, he finished 8th in Division II wrestling before reaching his apex in 1986, where in Division I he once again finished 8th. In the 90s, Manny transitioned to, of course, sumo wrestling and would become one of the most famous non-Japanese sumo wrestlers. In 1995, he was crowned the World Amateur Sumo Champion. Then there was his MMA career. On September 9th, 1994, Emmanuel Yarborough fought at UFC number 3, facing off against famed groin puncher Keith Hackney, who would stop the big, lovable man with bare-fisted strikes to his head. After that...
Which, you know what, when they mentioned that, I came to realize, you have to be a pretty tall person to pull that off.
Well...
Because, like, the main thing is, not only do you have to strike his face, you still have to leap the distance of his freaking stomach. Yes. So you either need to have hella long arms or be hella tall.
So I would include a clip here of Keith Hackney fighting Manny Yarborough, but I know that UFC will immediately flag our video. I can't put in any clip of UFC. Well, I can, but it needs to be stretched out or like sped up.
Okay.
Or if I just have it like regular speed, they will...
is that what got us on,
yes,
on the first one?
Yeah, because I had the Kimo entrance where it was played at regular speed. I put the Kimo entrance in at 400% slower. That's the only way I got by fucking UFC's copyright trolls.
Interesting.
So after UFC number 3... it was on to Shuto Organization, a Japanese MMA organization where on April 26, 1998, 2 months before Pride number 3, at a great name here for an event, Shoot the Shuto XX, actual name of the event, Shoot the Shuto XX. He defeated one Tatsuo Nakano by way of how? It was a submission. Any guesses on how he defeated Tatsuo Nakano? It was a submission. Guess.
It was a submission. Armbar.
No, smothering. I am not kidding you.
Oh, look at this son of a bitch.
He got on top of Tatsuo and pretty much laid on his head. Tatsuo had no choice but to tap out by way of smothering.
Well, that's what Boss and Quadro were talking the entire time of the fight. It's like,
yes, yeah,
the moment this fucker gets on you, done.
Right. And that brings us here to Pride number 3. Obviously, Takase is giving up a lot of weight and a lot of height to Yarborough, about 400 pounds and roughly 8 inches. I'm not sure why these two were matched up. And I have a comment here that Boss and Quadros will surely have a field day with this one. Oh God, yes, they will. Round number 1. Manny plods forward as Takase runs from him. For good reason, he does not want to get within reach of Yarborough. Quadro says that Takase has to use movement even if it looks frustrating to the crowd.
Daiju's got to use movement is what he's got to use.
This is what he needs. He's running away.
He's got to use movement even if it looks frustrating to the crowd.
In other words, run even if it makes you look like a coward.
No. See, that is where I am completely saying no. Because...
No, to what? That him running makes him look like a coward?
Well, no. That it does. But that shouldn't be a fight. That's what I'm saying. This fight should have never happened.
Yes.
People come in here to see a fight, not the goddamn, running around aimlessly. This is a professional wrestling event. Let's call it what it is. This is a spectacle that you would see in professional wrestling. This would be CM Punk versus The Big Show. Boom. I have no problem with that. But don't fucking throw in an MMA fight and expect me to see the same shit.
Right.
Because, honestly, it's just... And the part that really just baffled me, is that he's running circles around him and thinks that he's being badass because of it.
Oh, we'll get to fucking his hot dog in here in just a second. And I didn't see anything online, but I don't know if Koji Kitao might have been. They were maybe tried to match him up against Koji Kitao. Now that would have been a real spectacle.
That would have been awesome.
But I have no idea why Koji Kitao did not ever fight in Pride again. I don't know what the circumstances were behind it. I couldn't really find anything about it, so we're just gonna forget about it. Yarborough tries to grab Takase. Takase lunges in for a right cross, getting a big rise out of the crowd.
But kick to the body, forget about it. Punching. Like, man, you cannot even kill this guy with a samurai sword if you stab him. He's too big.
Yarborough is sweating profusely. At that point in his life, he probably sweat 24 hours a day, and I'm not joking.
I will say this. When he came out of the ring, he had let's call it the normal amount of sweat that a fighter has if they're doing any shadow fighting.
I don't think he did anything like that.
I know, but that's what I'm saying is he had the normal amount. But 5 minutes in and him walking around, and son of a bitch could have filled the lake.
Yes. Takase has himself a relaxing jog around Yarborough, who waits and watches angrily. He just watches. He just stands there watching.
Oh my God!
Takase
if looks could kill. I do have a note here, and my note, all it says is just run at him. A man that size. I know, he's quick and whatever. Right. But if you run at him with that goddamn size and just open your arms, you're hitting that son of a bitch.
Maybe. I think Takase would have been able to get away here. Yarborough tries to grab that little fuck, and that's what I start calling him, because at this point during my viewing, I was shouting. I'm not lying. My wife was fucking laughing, rolling on the floor. I was shouting at the TV for Manny to kill this little motherfucker.
Hey, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I watched this fight at work, and I couldn't shout that. But that is exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, this little fucking grasshopper needs to be squished.
Even though I knew the outcome at this fight, I was still trying to will Manny Yarborough to win. This fight...
I will say this. The only amusing point of this fight was when the ref kept saying, action!
Yes.
Action!
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yarborough watches Takase as he runs around him. This is like a horror movie. A monster, Quadros comments. Yarborough swings for Takase, who runs. Takase moves in, and both swing at each other just out of reach. Yarborough catches Takase, batting him in the face. Takase, the little shit, has a big grin on his face as he runs and gets away. Yarborough tries to get Takase, but fails. Takase lunges in and smacks Yarborough.
But Yarborough smacks him back every time.
He tries.
No, there's a few times that he landed some good blows.
There's that one which we'll have to see, which of course I'm gonna play, is when Yarborough smacked him and it was a good shot, and that little fucker just was grinning as he was running away.
Yeah, I know. That's the whole point of that fight is. He kept thinking, oh, I am so good because he hasn't sat on my face. But he did jack shit.
Yeah, no. Listen, I fucked Takase. I grew more and more angry with him as this fight went on. More chasing by Yarborough. Big miss by Yarborough. And Takase gets cheeky, running away before suddenly turning back around and trying to surprise Yarborough as he had just missed. But Yarborough clocks him pretty good for his little fucking tomfool. He spits out his mouthguard and runs in circles, to which the ref demands action from Takase.
Action! Action!
Takase runs, and it was at this point I was livid, and I have here that my wife was laughing as I screamed at the TV for Manny to kill him.
I'm gonna ask for a spoiler from you. Does he ever fight again in Pride?
Takase?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe Takase does return. Takase, that little hot dog and shit, he does a somersault. Poor Manny, he's just sitting here looking at him. Boss makes a joke about Takase asking his trainer what Yarborough eats for breakfast.
Daiju should ask his trainer, what do you think he eats for breakfast? And then his trainer would say, 169 pounds.
And I will say, that was pretty funny. That was pretty damn funny.
Manny says, fuck this, and simply walks into the corner, standing there, and Takase refuses to even get near him. Quadros comments. He says doing a spinning back kick on Yarborough would probably get stuck. You fucking asshole, Quadros.
Quadro was like, just, they were both making fun of the big man, which I'm, he's a big man. You expect him to be tired. You expect him not to move that much. And they're like, ho, 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 this is hilarious. Ho, ho, ho. Fuck off.
More imploring from the ref for Takase to start doing something. Action. Action.
Anything orthodox against this guy because of the size differential is not going to work.
Takase almost teases Yarborough, swinging in the air in a very mocking manner. That fucker.
I know, like, that's the thing. He was doing jack shit. There is no reason to have that confidence. He wasn't landing any kicks. He wasn't landing jack shit. There is no reason for you to be confident just because you weigh 300 pounds less and therefore can move around the fucking ring.
There's an inside leg kick by Takase, to which Boss laughs. Boss comments here, God knows what he hit there.
There it is.
God knows what he hit there.
I'm not gonna lie, I agree with Boss. I have no idea what he hit. But did you notice that right after that, Takase tried to do another kick, and it was like the worst kick I've ever fucking seen?
I missed that one.
Oh my god, he tried to do like a little front kick, and it was just awful. Like, awful.
Quadros at this point notices Yarborough sweating, and he has to have a comment about it.
Look how Yarborough is sweating just from walking around the ring.
Quadros says that if he were Takase, he would sprint around Yarborough, making Yarborough spin like a top and get him dizzy.
If I were Takase, I would run around Yarborough in a sprint and getting spinning in a circle. And eventually, I would run around in a circle and let him follow me and track me because the guy's going to get dizzy. The guy would get dizzy and it would be like Humpty Dumpty, right? And the guy would fall down.
That's a dirty fucking tactic, but it's also pretty smart. Yarborough desperately tries to grab Takase. We haven't had an earthquake in Pride yet, but if Yarborough goes down, we might just have one. This is a fucking comment from Boss.
I know, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, they are in full form today.
Yes.
Racism confusing the two fighters in our first fight.
I don't know if that's racist. That's
No,
just
that is
dumb.
hella racist.
That's just the drinking.
You've seen Soji 3 times already. You better fucking know what he looks like. Hell, I'm racist and I know which one is Soji.
Gotta love the commentators. They are having a good time. More running from Takase. Quadros calls this a silly matchup, and I fucking absolutely agree, especially for the fact that Takase simply won't fight. Quadros recaps the whole Yarborough and Keith Hackney fight. Definitely, if you've never seen that, check it out. It's worth seeing. The last 1 minute of round number 1. Nothing really happens, and the bell rings, signaling the end of round 1. 10 minutes are down. Oh.
By the way, longest 10 minutes ever, because once again, and this is the part I don't understand, Pride is a pay-per-view event, is it not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So people...
Well, okay, so at this point, I don't know if it was on pay-per-view internationally. It was broadcast on Japanese cable TV, I believe.
Because I was gonna say, if you're paying money for an event like this, and you're expecting to see a fight, and all you get is little fucking gingerbread man running around the ring, I'd be pissed.
Well, I tell you who did pay for this, the 4,500 people in attendance.
Yeah, and I if I were them, like, I am surprised because, what was it, Pride 1 or 2 where they started booing the fight?
No, I think that was Pride 1, that Severn versus...
Yes. I would have been, I am very surprised that didn't happen within 5 minutes.
Well, I think the difference was you had 47,000 people, so a little bit more unruly in Pride 1 versus 4,500 here. But for all Takase's efforts, the crowd is going to turn on him in round 2. There's a little bit of a spoiler. For the few punches that Yarborough did land on Takase, they had to hurt because Takase's corner ices his face down. And there was that one shot which, I mean, a 600-pound guy hitting you, I don't care if he doesn't know how to punch.
I don't care if he has no momentum in his punch. It's still 600 fucking pounds.
His arm could weigh 75 to 100 pounds.
Yeah,
you know,
easily. Especially when you look at this guy's arms, because these guys' arms are fucking huge, man.
Yeah. Boss questions why Yarborough is even fighting, and Quadros agrees with him. Why is Yarborough even in MMA?
I honestly like the guy, and like you said, had he fought someone closer to his weight category, like a sumo or anything, it would have made a good fight.
Yes.
It's just you put someone against him that's like, 300 pounds fucking lighter. That's not a fucking fight.
Something to notice here. As round 2 starts, Manny refuses his mouth guard and doesn't even put it in. The ref doesn't notice. Yarborough comes out with no mouth guard in his mouth.
Wait, no. Oh my God, what's the other guy's name? Takase. He spit his out on the first round.
At the end of round 1. He must not. Manny at this point must not think that Takase is going to punch him in the face at all, because he doesn't even take his mouth guard.
And Takase hasn't, because Takase's a short motherfucker, short arms. He's not going to land the fucking face hit.
Here we go. Round number 2. Yarborough plods forward as Takase runs. Yarborough nearly grabs Takase, who squirms away, and again, the crowd comes to life after this near grab.
Whoa. Emmanuel Yarborough hustling now.
I'm telling you, it's...
This is not good. You got a big avalanche of a man like that coming after you.
A Yarborough chant breaks out. Imagine that. The crowd has turned on their own countryman and are chanting for Yarborough.
Especially by, Takase is now fearing for his life.
Takase runs. Yarborough stalks him. Takase refuses to engage Yarborough at all, leading the ref to suddenly halt the fight. What's going on here?
Same one. Okay, now, okay, that's it.
What's happening? Oh, he's getting...
Oxygen.
Okay.
Oh, yellow card.
Takase is getting a warning for stalling, evidently.
He goes in between the ropes and calls to the outside for, what's this? A yellow card! And thus, the card system in Pride was established. You will see in future Prides, the ref will have both a yellow card and a red card. Now, in the beginning, these cards don't mean a whole lot, but in future Prides, if you got a yellow card, it was for stalling. If you got a red card, they would take a percentage of your fight purse.
Oh, wow.
So if you got a red card, you fucking didn't want it.
Well, and that's the thing is, I agree of this. It just should have come a lot earlier. It should have come in round 1. To me, like I have a note here, even from round 1, saying it should be a DQ because he's doing absolutely nothing to fight.
Right. Well, or take a point away, but again, they don't use the point scoring system.
Exactly. Like, there's no point scoring system, so there's no scoring system.
Right.
Clearly, we found that out when it was a fucking draw on that first fight.
Yeah. But you know what? This yellow card must have wounded Takase's ego, because after the restart, he foolishly flies in for a single leg. Yarborough nearly crushes him as he falls forward onto Takase. You've got to be out of your mind!
You gotta be out of your mind!
Yarborough has Takase's legs trapped under him as Takase tries to squirm away. This is like Jaws!
This is horrible. This is like Jaws.
I laugh at that because that is so goddamn true. It is honestly all I could think of is that exact same scene in Jaws. You know where he eats the like back of the boat and people start sliding in. That is the exact scene I was thinking of.
And that is what Quadros is referencing here. Takase pelts Yarborough, who seems to be losing his grip slowly but surely. Takase beats on Yarborough's elbow and arm. What a dirty fuck. Takase smacks Yarborough's knee. What an asshole. Like fucking attacking the joints? Fucking dickhead. Yarborough has a bloody nose. Takase has suddenly escaped. He stands over a flattened Yarborough, who I don't think can stand up at this point.
It's like a turtle upside down, man. You are not getting him the fuck up.
Takase clubs him in the head, to which Yarborough eventually taps. Unbelievable! Quadros screams. Takase, that little fucker, I hate this asshole, he celebrates, but is shunned by Yarborough. He celebrates and then goes over to shake Yarborough's hand. Yarborough will have none of it. Turns his back.
And that's exactly how it should be. Like I was pissed off when he started celebrating because all he got. Yeah, I'll give him that. It was pretty impressive to get out of it. But that's it. That is all he fucking did.
Fucking impressive. The guy ran the whole fucking fight, and then when he finally does act after being given a yellow card and being shown a coward that he is, he I guess courageously shoots in, and then once Yarborough's on the ground, he fucking hits him in the elbow. He punches him in the elbow, which is a dirty fucking trick, and then he punches him in the knee. The guy probably has bad fucking knees.
Oh, of course, a man that weight, fuck yeah.
Hitting him right in the side of the fucking knee. Yarborough probably, that's why he gave up and let go of his grip. The guy's fucking punching him in his bad knee. And then he gets up, clubs Yarborough a couple times. Yarborough...
Of course, because Yarborough was 600 pounds. When you're down at 600 fucking pounds, you're not getting back up, especially when you have someone hitting you. That's a given, like honestly. But first of all, like I've said before, I don't think this should have been a fight.
I agree. I don't know why they match these two guys up. Anyway, what would become of our two heroic fighters here?
Bullshit. Only one heroic fighter.
This was Takase's first MMA fight. Since I didn't cover Takase in the pre-fight, I'm going to give him his due here. This was Takase's first MMA fight. Previously, he had one kickboxing bout. After Pride number 3 here, he wouldn't return until Pride The Best Volume 1, which sounds like a DVD, but it was actually an MMA event held on February 22nd, 2002. During that time away, he fought in Pancrase and actually did fight in 2 UFC events.
Wait. Did he actually fight?
You will have to watch those Pancrase events and the UFC events to find out. This was Emmanuel's only Pride appearance, and this would be his last MMA bout ever.
I mean, why was he even in there, man? Like,
he must have been
get paid hella money.
I don't think he got paid a whole lot, and I can only surmise that at this point in his career, I don't think he was really that great of sumo wrestler. I think he was given the Amateur Sumo Champion of the Year award in 95, but I don't know how good he was. He was popular as a non-Japanese sumo wrestler, but I don't think he was all that good. And once I don't know if he really tried for very long in the professional sumo league. Yeah. So I can only surmise and guess here that Yarborough needed money, and he was trying MMA, but this would be it for his MMA career. He would go on to appear in a few movies and also show up on some talk shows.
Movies?
Yes. He would also appear on the HBO drama Oz.
Yo, you need a helping hand there, pretty boy? You ever sucked cock before?
Back off, Clarence.
All right, Vernon. No need to get testy.
I never watched Oz, so I will definitely have to look at this shit.
You've never seen Oz?
I've never seen Oz.
The jailhouse drama.
I know what it is about. I just never
Holy
seen
fuck! If you like to watch dramatic reenactments of prison rape, Oz.
Oh my goodness!
Oz
You've sold me on it. If there's something I want to see, it's prison rape. Woohoo!
And I will say this:
that's my fetish.
Oz was a good show, but it was sometimes hard to watch being like a guy and watching these situations because it was brutal.
And
they showed it.
And that's the thing is, when Oz was actually on TV, I remember all the stories about it because of that.
Right.
It's just at that time I didn't have HBO.
But here's
and
another
care.
part of Oz that really made you feel, I won't say uncomfortable because that, of course, is frowned upon now, but between serious feelings between two guys in prison who fall in love with each other. So that was Oz for you in a nutshell. Prison rape and the love between two men. Sadly, on December 21st, 2015, that's right, just last year, we lost tiny Emmanuel Yarborough. He will be missed. And here's to you, Manny. We need to do another shot.
All right, shot time.
More Jaeger. This is kind of a sad...
You might be wondering, why is a shot of Jaeger a sad time? It's because neither one of us likes Jaeger.
And I have only had 100-calorie yogurt today, so this is gonna go right.
I've had 2 steaks and I'm still gonna get drunk.
Here's to you, Manny. Oh God.
Fucking awful.
On to fight number 3, which sees Kazushi Sakuraba, who stands, oh God, gotta love that face, who stands 6 foot, 183 pounds, and was 28 years old at the time. His MMA record was a 2-1-1. He's facing off against Carlos Newton, who stands 5'9", 181 pounds, and was just 21 years old. I can't believe he looks so young here.
Video game reference time. Carlos looks like Jay from Street Fighter.
DJ, you mean?
Yeah, DJ, there we go.
DJ from Super Street Fighter 2?
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Newton's MMA record was 4-2. So, just who is Carlos Newton? Carlos Newton started fighting professionally at age 19, losing his first fight to Jean Revere at Extreme Fighting No. 2 in Montreal, Canada, on April 26, 1996. 2 years later, he would fight in the UFC middleweight tournament at UFC 17, first defeating Bob Gilstrap before losing to Dan Henderson. That's right, Dan Henderson in the championship fight. Only a month later, he is fighting again here at Pride No. 3. So Pride No. 3 was only a month after UFC 17.
Who's this guy? He looks so young. Who is that guy? Oh, that's Sebastian Rutten from Holland. Right.
And what's this? What's going on here? Boss Rutten teleports somehow and gets into the ring.
Wait, that was Boss Rutten?
That was Boss Rutten.
Oh my God. I had no idea who the heck that was. It's like, they're like, who is this? Who is this? I'm like, who the fuck is that? I really don't know.
Boss Rutten gets in the ring. He hands out bouquets to the fighters. Very, very nice thought. Then gets on the mic. He announces that once his contract with the UFC was up, he would be returning to fight in Japan, specifically to fight in Pride, against one Rickson Gracie.
Minasan Genki! I'm very happy to be here tonight. And as everybody knows, maybe not, in October I'm going to fight against Randy Couture for the Ultimate Fighting Championship. And then after my contract with the UFC, I hope to return in the Pride ring, and especially when I can fight against Mr. Rickson Gracie. Sayonara, thank you very much.
Oh my God.
Fuck yeah.
How drunk are you, goddammit? How drunk are you?
During this, he mentions an upcoming fight in the UFC against UFC heavyweight champion Randy Couture. A fight that would never happen. As for Boss's plans here to fight Rickson Gracie once his contract was done in the UFC. Big spoiler here, folks, Boss wouldn't make good on his announcements. He would never fight in Pride, never fight Rickson Gracie, and would never fight in Japan ever again.
We have him as an announcer.
That's
Thank
right.
the heavens.
At least we have Boss as an announcer. Thank you very much, Boss. On to the fight! Round 1. Sakuraba opens up with 2 leg kicks. Count them, 2. Newton looks like a totally different style of opponent than Vernon White, Sakuraba's first opponent in Pride number 2. And I would say that Carlos Newton is definitely a lot more dangerous than Vernon White.
I will say this because I saw it, and I think it's very similar to Shoji, is where they are rising to the level of their opponents. Because Sakuraba in this match was amazing, and to me he was keeping up and everything, and it's just I have a note here because I think it was I want to say about 3 minutes into this fight I said, this is my official start of the card. Anything before this I say fuck it. This is where the card starts for me.
Well, Newton is definitely a more dangerous opponent. Newton grabs Sakuraba, pushes him into the ropes. As they move toward the center of the ring, Newton tries to trip Sakuraba, but he winds up on the bottom for his effort. As they fight for position, Sakuraba spins above Newton and tries to lock in an armbar.
A beautiful armbar. He that was beautiful, I gotta say.
And he nearly gets it before Newton manages to escape. Newton, now inside control, then moves to north-south position. The freaky mount. Then he gets back to side mount again before Sakuraba manages to reverse him.
Now, at this point, and I know Boss mentions it, it almost seemed like he mentioned the fact that, and once he mentioned it, I saw it, this whole like honor thing of we're both grapplers, we're both going for the submission, we're not going to go strike.
Yes, I will get onto that in just a second. Quadros is very impressed with Sakuraba so far.
I'm telling you, Sakuraba is something else in this fight.
Hold before getting reversed by Newton for it. Boss asks for punches from Newton, and I agree. This is so far just a grappling match. The boys take a breather here. Sakuraba tries to escape, giving up his back. Sakuraba gets a hold of Newton's leg, and now Sakuraba is in Newton's guard. Dead silence in the crowd as they intently watch the unfolding drama. Sakuraba now standing above Newton. He spins towards Newton's head and attacks for an armbar once again. Newton rolls, stacks Sakuraba up, and escapes. The crowd applauds their efforts. Quadros absolutely loves it. Sakuraba is back in Newton's guard, and 5 minutes have passed. They stand, and Sakuraba tries for a kick. The crowd rises for it. Woo, they say as the kick goes. Inside leg kick by Sakuraba. Newton charges forward with a left, missing before Sakuraba shoots down to grab Newton's leg. Newton pretty much falls to the mat as Sakuraba is now back in his guard. Sakuraba grabs Newton's muscular breast. Sakuraba actually throws a punch before grabbing Newton's foot for a toe hold once again.
At this point, Quadron Boss are like, oh my god, the honor has ended. You can tell Carlos knows the honor has ended.
Newton escapes from the toe hold attempt, and Newton has Sakuraba's back. Quadros mentions how Sakuraba never defends his back, and how, just like Vernon White, who continually got Sakuraba's back, Quadros likens it to him having confidence that he can't be submitted or defeated from his back.
Yeah.
Sakuraba has shown utter disdain for people when they get his back. He's like, go ahead, take my back.
He doesn't care.
It used to be the death sentence when a grappler or hoist gracer, whoever got your back, the fight was going to be over. But now Sakuraba has come out. Every one of his fights I've seen, he gives up his back. And it's amazing because he really is not worried at all about being submitted from this position.
Giving someone your back is one of the worst positions you could be in as opposed to mount. There's a lot of submissions that one can do from the back, so I don't know why Sakuraba doesn't roll or try to defend somebody taking his back at all, but he doesn't.
Because I think the whole point, and I will say this for Sakuraba is, like I said before, this is an amazing improvement over his first product showing.
Yes.
This was leaps and bounds so much better. So I think Sakuraba took those, first 3-5 minutes, and he was doing really well against Carlos. So he's like, well, I don't need to worry about my back. And like you said, it might have been some ignorance because, you know what, Sakuraba's still part of the pro wrestler corner.
Yeah.
So, you know, they might have their own little crazy ass world.
Right, and for all my hate towards the Japanese pro wrestler who's attempting to be a fighter, I will say that Sakuraba had real chops as an amateur wrestler, and he definitely had a fighter's spirit, which he begins to prove here, and Sakuraba, of course, would become one of the most popular fighters in Japan for good reason. But you will have to wait for the big climax of his showing in a future Pride here. Sakuraba manages to sweep Newton down onto the mat, and this is where Quadros talks about the lack of striking between the two men, believing that it's not because they made a deal or agreement about no striking, but he's still not sure why they aren't striking.
I think the Sakuraba, they might have one of those codes about grappling where there's no striking, okay? Because they've had so many opportunities where they could have punched each other. But I don't think they made any kind of a deal here, but it's just, why?
I don't know what the fuck is going on here. Carlos Newton is a striker, so I don't know why he's not striking.
But I agree. I agree with you know, Boss and Carter. It does seem more to be like they're trying to see who is the better submission person, because they're going for those submissions every time. They're going for those, you know, taking them down and not striking, which, hey, I'm all for it because of the fact is, you know what, I'm not, like I said, I'm not a fighter guy. So the first fight was boring as hell to me because it was all the same kind of grappling, whatever. This one is more energetic. I don't know exactly if that's maybe why it called out to me, but I like this fight. I did not like the first one. I like this one.
There's 1 minute left in round number 1, and Sakuraba is in Newton's guard. He throws a punch that looks pretty good. Sakuraba nearly takes Newton's back. As they stand, Sakuraba kicks, then he shoots in for a takedown as the round ends. The bell rings. 10 minutes have passed. Apparently, this is according to Boss here as we end the round here, apparently Carlos Newton only does pull-ups, push-ups, and other body-only exercises to build his muscle. There's no weight training involved.
Carlos Newton claims that all the muscles that he has is only from like pull-ups, push-ups, dips, no weights. He doesn't do any weight training.
I mean, he has a really well-toned body, but his muscles aren't huge. So
right.
I would believe that. I would honestly believe that.
Good tidbit by Boss. Thank you, Boss, for that. Round number 2, absolute silence.
What?
The crowd completely into this fight. Newton charges forward, grabs Sakuraba, has his back, and drags Sakuraba to the mat. But Sakuraba held onto an arm, and he briefly threatens a Kimura. Newton manages to escape and then takes Sakuraba's back. Lots of rolls, reverses, and sweeps here, just for us to be back in the same position. Newton on Sakuraba's back. Newton stands up to deliver a few knees, making Boss very happy.
Knee, that's it.
Good shot.
That's it. Keep doing this.
You keep doing it.
Just keep doing it. That's it, to deliver right there.
Newton with a punch under Sakuraba's armpit. Very good. Quadros theorizes these men want to finish the fight with finesse and not violence. Could be.
I think both these guys have in their minds that they don't want to end the match just with pure violence or punching or striking. They want to do it with some finesse, with a submission, with a real classy-looking technique.
Like I said, I would agree that they're just trying to out-technique each other.
Yes. Sakuraba briefly gets Newton to the mat, but Newton retakes his back fairly easily. Newton uncorks a few hard shots on a turtled-up Sakuraba. Newton back on Sakuraba's back. Sakuraba rolls him onto the mat and into his guard. Sakuraba moves on to Newton's side, then quickly grabs Newton's left arm. They fight for the arm before Newton rolls and escapes, getting Sakuraba's back once again.
He's got to get close. Carlos defending really well.
Whoa!
Oh, he's almost got it.
No, he doesn't have it.
But
there's no elbow there.
But he's using a lot of energy. Carlos Newton is using a lot of energy to get out of that.
5 minutes have passed in round 2.
Spoiler. At this point of me watching the fight, my computer crashed. And so when I went back in, I'm like, oh my God, I am not going to watch the first 10 minutes
you couldn't
again.
fast forward?
You can't fast forward. You can't even skip anything. So from now on, I'm flying blind, man.
What?
No. Just for this fight.
Oh, okay.
Just for this fight. No. I jumped to the next fight and went from there on. So,
oh, well, you're fucking gonna miss it, dude.
I know. So
all right. So,
I'll be reacting to everything you do.
So here we go. 5 minutes have passed in round number 2. Newton tries to pull Sakuraba back. As he's pulling Sakuraba, he slips, allowing Sakuraba to grab Newton's foot. They roll, and Sakuraba ends up falling right into position for a knee bar. And just like that, Newton taps out at 5 minutes and 19 seconds of round 2. Sakuraba is the victor via knee bar.
Well, I am glad because I said, and I made this comment earlier, and it was more of foreshadowing for this fight, is these professional wrestlers, when they have their next fight, they're a lot better. Sakuraba has proved it. He improved so much in my eyes because of this fight.
And could be. So, of course, because your computer crashed just before that knee bar, your overall thoughts on the fight. I thought Newton was too timid in this fight. He should have made this ugly and not made it a grappling match. Why give Sakuraba the fight he wants? That's my question.
For me, Carlos was very reactive. More, he never started.
Yeah.
Sakuraba was always going for the grapple, going for the knockdown, and then Newton would react and sometimes get the advantage, sometimes not. But like you said, you used the right word. The moment you said, I agree wholeheartedly with you. He was too timid. He definitely was. And maybe it's because he's so young.
It could be. He's 21. He's fighting in Japan. It's kind of a big moment. So maybe he didn't look like it, but maybe he was overtaken by nerves.
Maybe.
Possibly.
But I will say this, regardless of any of this, he's still a great fighter.
Absolutely.
Because, like I said, this fight is my official start of today's card. Because it was entertaining. It was everything I want to see in an MMA fight.
Fantastic. What would become of our two fine fighters here? Sakuraba would be back in short order at Pride number 4, where he'll face off against Alan Goes, a Brazilian fighter. Meanwhile, Newton wouldn't be back until Pride number 6, where he'll face off against another fighter from this card, Daijiro Matsui.
Ooh.
Oh, so looking forward to that. He faced one pro wrestler, and now he's going to fight another one. Well, that brings us to, I'd like to say this is the halfway point of the event, since we've had 3 fights, and there's 6 fights total. But the last couple of fights are spoilers not too long here. But what we're going to do...
The lightning round.
is we're going to take a short interlude here and join us as we play some video games.
Welcome to Intermission.
That brings us to fight number 4 of the evening, which sees Gary Big Daddy Goodrich.
Woo! We love Gary.
Who stands 6'3", 240 pounds, and was 32 years old at the time. His MMA record was 7-6. And he's facing off against Amir Rahnavardi. Oh, God, this fucking guy's name. This motherfucker in his name. Amir Rahnavardi. Who stands 6'1", 204 pounds, and was 23 years old. What the fuck is going on here? His record is 0-0. Why is he fighting Gary Goodrich? Well, here's why.
Because he's too cocky for his own goddamn good.
Yes, Amir Rahnavardi. Fucking guy. This fucking guy in his name. And the fucking Jaeger. Amir. Who is he? Apparently he's a fighter. Yes, he is a fighter. So here's the thing. Gary Goodrich was supposed to fight Kimo. That's right. Kimo Leopoldo.
Jesus!
Unfortunately, Kimo blew out his knee. Though I would have loved to see that fight. Kimo versus Goodrich. Yeah. You know that Kimo would have had to fight. Gary Goodrich brings it every fucking time.
Oh, he does, man. That's why I love Gary.
And so that brings us back to this. Amir took this fight on 1 day notice.
And he didn't even train for it.
Fuck, props to him, dude. Taking 1 day notice against Gary Goodrich. I wouldn't fucking do that.
Fuck no.
If someone calls me up and says, hey, you want to fight Gary Goodrich in Japan? We'll pay $10,000. I'm like, no thanks.
No. Fucking day. I've seen Gary's arms. I'm not fucking fighting him without at least a month notice.
Yes.
Just so I can write my will.
Oh, so Amir here is sporting the tie trunks. I wonder if that means he's going to be kickboxing. Anyway, round number 1. Amir meets Goodrich in the center of the ring. He leg kicks Goodrich. Then Amir bitch slaps him in the face before just missing with a left.
I will say this. Amir, from the start, he was way too cocky for his own good.
Yes, he definitely should have been a little bit more, maybe take a wait and see approach or like reactive approach.
Maybe.
To Goodrich. Goodrich responds with a few hooks that look pretty mean. Goodrich definitely looks pissed now, and you can see the anger rising in him. Goodrich puts Amir into the corner with knees right up the middle. Amir pillow taps Goodrich. They clinch. Amir trips Goodrich down. Very nice. But Goodrich, with good control, manages to land on top of him. Goodrich clubs Amir with a big shot. Goodrich is in Amir's half guard. Goodrich delivers more punches. Amir responds with a few punches of his own. And at this point, the curtain comes crumbling down. What the fuck happened here? The fourth wall is completely broken by Quadros. I think this was a big mistake here. Maybe not so much on Quadros' part, but on the part of whoever had recorded this commentary.
Amir, when I was working as editor for Kickboxing Ring Report, was calling me from Japan, telling me, hey, I took a fight with Gary Goodrich. I said, oh my God, okay. Oh, look at that right hand. And then Amir called me after the fight was over, and he told me that he had lost the fight.
Come on, Daddy. What did we work on, Amir? Come on.
Okay, they have to cut it out. You're right here, man.
Whoa, I missed this. I completely missed this.
You missed this?
I missed this? Oh
Yes.
my God.
Quadros tells a story of Amir calling him and then calling him after the fight to tell him that he lost. Whoops, it just slipped out. I guess they aren't actually in Japan doing the commentary live. Oh, fuck.
Suspended disbelief.
Yes.
Suspended.
Boss tries to cover, saying, oh, you're right here, cut it out. But For whatever reason, this was left in on the commentary. Oh, and spoilers, Amir loses. Thanks, Quadros. Eagle-eyed viewers of Pride number 2 might have noticed somebody who looks suspiciously like Boss Rutten in the corner of Mark Kerr, while Boss Rutten was doing commentary.
Oh my god, now I gotta go back to Pride 2 and watch this because I did not notice it, but damn it, I will have to look now.
Just an FYI, the first 10 Prides that came out on DVD all had their commentary taped around 2002, so about 4 years after some of these fights. Anyway, off of that tangent, Quadros has destroyed the fourth wall, much like Deadpool. And Deadpool just came out in Deadpool, so I guess Quadros could be the forebearer to Deadpool, breaking the fourth wall here. Boss Rutten implores Amir to get up from this position.
You should get up. Forget about the leg. Get up now. Get out. Get out. Climb on top.
As Goodrich postures up, Amir goes for a triangle, but Goodrich easily slips out and smothers Amir.
I will say this, in Pride 2, Goodrich was doing well, but throughout the fight, he seemed like he was being overwhelmed. Not so in this one.
Oh,
he came back, and he came back strong. He was making the right moves. He was doing the right strikes, and I was really, really impressed. Like, we might be biased because we all love Gary, but it was a really good fight.
We do love Gary, but this is like throwing a puppy to a wolf.
Oh my goodness. And the problem is, not only are you throwing a puppy to a wolf, you're throwing a puppy who thinks he's a wolf against a wolf.
He's got heart. Give him that. Amir gives up his back to Gary Goodrich. Goodrich smashes Amir once. Amir rolls onto his back. Amir smacks Goodrich, causing Goodrich to loudly taunt Amir as Amir tries to deal out some damage. In one of the most hilarious scenes in MMA, Goodrich repeatedly asks for more punches, cheering Amir on.
He has to get... Oh! And he did. Amir striking.
Child's play. Woo!
Gary saying child's play.
Again!
No shot get. Goodrich. No shot get.
All right. Again! Woo! Woo! Woo!
Yeah.
He's like, give me more! Woo!
Yeah.
And, oh my god, it was fucking hilarious. 3 minutes left in the fight. Goodrich suddenly smacks Amir very violently. One shot sends Amir into La La Land, but it's the second that disconnects Amir from his consciousness. The third and fourth strike from Goodrich are merely academic as the ref dives in to save Amir and stop the fight. Goodrich wins at 7 minutes and 22 seconds of the first round via TKO/KO.
It was a strong showing.
Oh my god.
But I will say this, and I find it kind of weird, is because he got knocked out, but within seconds he was back up. Back conscious.
He was out, and then he came right back.
Yeah, because I noticed
so
that
it wasn't
because...
like Tartaro.
Oh yeah, it wasn't that. It wasn't that brutal, but yeah, because I noticed, I'm like, he got knocked out, and I'm like, oh well, way to go, Gary, you won, and then like a couple seconds later, camera pans back to him, and it's like, oh, he's back awake.
Right. Amir looks no worse for the wear. So what would happen with our two awesome fighters here? We wouldn't see Amir again until Pride the Best Volume 1. Again, that's not a DVD. That's an actual event, and an actual event name. What the fuck? I agree. Until then, he would fight in a lot of smaller promotions in the USA. As for Gary Goodrich, he would be back in Pride number 4, which would occur on October of '98. See you then, Gary. That brings us to fight number 5 of the evening, which sees a returning Mark Kerr, who stands at 6 foot 3 inches tall, 255 pounds, and was 29 years old at the time. He had a perfect MMA record of 8-0, and he is facing off against Pedro Octavio.
All right, I once again, not even fighting related. First thing I noticed when I saw Pedro, motherfucker has a straight line on his face. His nose is so big, his forehead continues on it. Tell me you noticed that.
I didn't notice it.
The moment they shot they shot the first profile on his face. Mm-hmm. Boom! I saw it straight, just damn straight.
Octavio stands 6 foot 3 inches tall, is 243 pounds, and was 30 years old at the time. His MMA record, meanwhile, was 12 wins and 3 losses. Now, who is this Pedro Octavio?
I'm not voting for him.
Octavio had primarily fought in Brazil. In fact, this was only his 3rd fight outside of Brazil, having fought in 2 Vale Tudo events in Japan previously. His most notable fight was at IVC number 1, that's International Vale Tudo Championship, number 1, on July 6, 1997, in Brazil, where he lost to Gary Goodridge by a submission to punches.
Hey, you know what? If someone can subdue you with punches, it's definitely Gary Goodrich.
Gary Goodrich. Round number 1. Mark Kerr opens up with a leg kick. Mark Kerr throws a nice head kick, though it misses. The Pedro foolishly drops his hands to his waist for some reason. Kerr shoots in with a perfect, spectacular, beautiful double leg. That's how you do a takedown, Matsui. Kerr moves Octavio onto the mat. Kerr teases a Kimura on Octavio. Kerr pushes Octavio's head down in an attempt to open him up, but Octavio locks him up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 solid body shots by Mark Kerr. Out of nowhere, Mark Kerr positions Octavio's arm towards his back, and Octavio screams.
Acceptable to the punches.
Yeah, and Kerr actually beat Master Hulk. I was there. I was in the World Vale Tudo Championship. There we go. There we go.
Oh my god. Friggin' ridiculous scream, I will say.
He screams as Mark Kerr bends his left arm behind him. The ref, to which I don't fault him anything for this, the ref responds to Octavio's screams by stepping in and stopping the fight. Though immediately, Octavio protests this stoppage. Octavio gets up, waves his finger in front of the ref's face, yelling, "No!
No!
And even his corner did the same thing. But I go bullshit. That was a submission. That scream was just deafening.
Yes.
You know, that was.
I agree. If I was the ref and I heard a guy scream like that,
I would take it as a tap.
Because it even looked like Octavio couldn't tap with his right arm.
Yeah, because of the way he was placed. I know, I saw that. And I don't know if you noticed, because of how he was screaming, and because of the way his face was positioned, it almost looked like Octavio was almost ended up biting Mark Kerr.
Could have been, because he was in a whole lot of pain.
And that's the thing. It's one of those situations, as a ref, boom, call it over.
And unless the ref stopped it, you think Mark Kerr was going to stop?
Mark Kerr was not going to stop. Mark Kerr was going to break that.
Mark Kerr was going to rip his fucking arm off.
Yeah.
Though Octavio here, the sore loser, is extremely upset. He takes his mouth guard out of his mouth and throws it into the crowd.
But remember, he threw it, making sure the ref saw that he fucking threw it. He went up to the ref and then threw it to the crowd.
He then
that's why I have a note. I'm like, he is a goddamn sore loser.
He takes his knee guards off and throws them into the crowd. That's a very good response here to losing.
He could have ripped his arm off right now. He was screaming already. 2 controversial wins in a row. No, this was a pure win.
Yeah, well, the Bronco Sikatich fight was
Yes, we all believe that you didn't actually mean to scream here and get.
Well, even if he didn't mean to scream, here's my question: how are you gonna get out of that? You weren't gonna get out of that.
You're not. No,
You're
I'm
not.
not fucking Mark Kerr. Do you see Mark Kerr? The guy's a fucking Greek god.
God damn right.
Oh my god.
If I ever needed my wife to get pregnant, I would go ask Mark Kerr to do so.
Oh.
If you've ever seen Tattoo, it's like the Tom Brady scene. Let's just put it that way.
Huh, something's very suspicious going on here. Boss Rutten is suddenly silent on the commentary as he appears in Mark Kerr's corner, celebrating with Mark Kerr. And Quadros is now the only one commentating. Are they still trying to play up that they're there live? These fucking scoundrels here. Octavio the baby leaves the ring waving both his fingers to the crowd as Kerr gets his giant trophy. Boss celebrates with Kerr, and again, suspiciously, Boss has stopped commentating and only Quadros is the one.
Octavio, before you say whatever happened to the fighters, I will say this: I hope he doesn't fight too many more times, because he is just a terrible sore loser, and that is not the way you should exit a ring. That is not the way a fighter should exit the ring.
Pedro Otavio would never fight in Pride again.
Yeah!
Yes, that's right, fight fans. This would be Pedro Otavio's first and only appearance in Pride. He would go back to where he was respected, and that's Brazil, where he would fight once again in Vale Tudo. Good riddance, you fucking sore loser.
Goddamn right.
As for Mark Kerr, he would return in Pride number 4, where he'll see another Vale Tudo Brazilian in Hugo Durante. And that brings us to our 6th and final fight of the evening, which sees one Nobuhiko Takada, who stands in at 6 foot, 210 pounds, and was 36 years old at the time. Takada's professional MMA record was 0-1. Who is Takada fighting? It's Kyle Sturgeon. Don't you know who he is?
I have no idea who he is.
Fucking super famous. He stands in at 6'2", 224 pounds, and was 35 years old at the time. Kyle Sturgeon's impressive MMA record was 0-0. Huh.
That's a great main event.
So who is Kyle Sturgeon, and is he a real fighter?
Well, I want to point out, like we mentioned, for this DVD, before every fight, let's call it the popular fighter would get like an intro video of them training. Mm-hmm. And that's when I was like, I'm really hoping that this is actually him training, because he fucking needs it.
There is a lot going on here, and I will get to all this in short order. Huge cheers for Takada before the bell. The crowd definitely loves them, their professional wrestler. Takada looks very, very confident. I wonder why.
I wouldn't be confident after my first performance. Wink, wink.
Round number 1. Sturgeon opens up with a very awkward kick, to which Takada spins back and dives for the ropes. Kind of strange reaction here. Takada gets back up and calls Sturgeon forward. Another high kick by Sturgeon, and down goes Takada. Takada acts very, very weird here. He grabs his face and pretends that he was just smacked, like his senses were awakened.
Oh, and Boss and Quadro call him out on it. They're like, oh my goodness, what?
Another high kick by Kyle Sturgeon. Is Takada hurt from that kick?
No. That wasn't the real heart. He can take that. He's tough.
And it's immediately apparent to me, and I don't know to you fight fans if you could spot this right away, but this is a work. They don't say it's a work, but this fight is fixed. I guarantee it.
I will say this, as a non-fight fan, I didn't notice it. I noticed some weird things. Like, I do have a note about, I love Sturgis's wiggling, if you will.
Oh my god.
It is just hilarious to watch.
Wow, that's...
I'm saying, like I was thinking at the time, I'm like, it's probably not very good for a fighter to fucking pull this shit off, but it's hilarious to watch.
There's 2 low kicks by Sturgeon. Takada delivers his own, eliciting cheers from the crowd.
With his own low kick.
Takada gets into position so Sturgeon can try and take him down. Sturgeon is on top of Takada. He's very animated. He's wiggling around. He's doing weird fucking shit. And then what the fuck happens here? Sturgeon suddenly postures up and then flops backwards onto the mat. What? Why? They both stand. There's a very, very soft inside leg kick by Sturgeon. Takada shoots in and takes Sturgeon down. Sturgeon holds on to Takada. There's soft blows delivered by Sturgeon. And then suddenly, Takada postures up and grabs Sturgeon's foot. He locks in a heel hook. And out of nowhere, Sturgeon taps out. Oh, the crowd eats it up.
Takada's got to break. Oh, Takada
lag. Back. He's got a lag.
He's going for the heel hook.
He's got a lag lock.
Takada is going for the heel hook, and Sturgeon taps out to a heel hook.
1ラウンド2分17秒勝者高田信彦
Nobuhiko Takada has defeated Kyle Sturgeon with a heel hook.
Quadros and Boss, they both sound suspicious of what just happened.
Well, the more you talk about it, I think I'm suspicious now.
And it's out of nowhere that Quadros sends us off. Domo arigato, sayonara, he says. And that is it for Pride number 3.
At the end of the Pride Fighting Championship number 3, on behalf of myself, Stephen Quadros, and my partner, Boss Rutten, domo arigato, sayonara.
Let's talk about what would happen with our 2 real fighters here.
Wink, wink.
Funny enough, this was Takada's first of only 2 victories in his career. Yes, that's right. Takada only had 2 wins in his MMA career.
Out of how many fights, though?
I don't have that written down, but I think it was about 12.
Holy shit. I'm not surprised, but holy shit.
And clearly something was going on here, but I'll get into that. We'll see Takada back in Pride number 4, where he'll face an old friend, Rickson Gracie. That's right. Rickson Gracie, after viewing this, would say that Takada has the warrior spirit and Takada deserves a rematch.
Oh my god!
Believe it or not. And I don't know if Rickson Gracie was trolling before trolling was a thing. He was trolling Takada by after seeing this performance and saying he has the spirit of a warrior. He deserves a rematch.
Maybe Rickson Gracie. I think what happened was Rickson Gracie saw this fight and realized Takeda just fucking set this shit up. He's gonna pretend to people that he can win. I'm gonna show them back up, and I'm gonna prove them that this son of a bitch is about to get his ass beat.
I was just thinking that. As for Kyle Sturgeon, did you know that this was Kyle Sturgeon's only MMA fight? Kyle Sturgeon...
Wait, MMA in general?
His only ever fight. This was it. So, does that provide more evidence that this was a fix? What fucking happened here? So...
Wait. Did Kyle show up anywhere else?
No.
Is he an actor?
No.
He just fucking disappeared.
Disappeared off the face of the earth.
Jesus Christ.
So here's my question. You have a guy who has... Okay, he's looks like maybe he's had some karate training or something. He's fit. You find this guy who's 0-0. Was Takada so worried that this guy, this karate fucking nobody, had a chance to beat him, that he had to fix this fight?
Well, in all honesty, Daniel San won the Kung Fu tournament.
In Karate Kid number 2.
Exactly.
Against the Chinese... Or the
exactly. So I see where Takeda's coming from.
So Takada was so afraid of potentially losing, no matter to who, even if it's some fucking bum off the street. He was so afraid of losing, once again, in his own promotion, that he had to set it up. That is so disgusting. And here's what's so sickening about this. So Takada goes back and starts from the bottom like he should have in his second MMA fight. But he still fixes it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Kyle Sturgeon was paid something to lose.
Oh, yeah.
He was losing. No matter what.
The moment you see Kyle fight, you know that he's not a full-out MMA fighter. Let's be honest.
So
even me, I have no fucking experience in this shit, and I saw this guy and I'm like, why the fuck is he fighting?
So why pay one fighter to lose when they're both fucking nobody?
Because it's the biggest name that they have in Japan right now, man. It's the guy that created the Pride, and you don't want him. You know what? Him losing against Gracie, you can spin that. Because it's motherfucking Gracie.
But him to lose
to a nobody?
Oh my god, yes. It would have. Takada proves himself to be an egotistical prima donna here by paying off a nobody to lose. And
let's say this. Everyone in his posse, dojo, whatever the fuck you want to call it, is the exact same way. It's all these pro wrestlers with two fucking big egos that decide we're gonna be fighters, show up to the ring and get their ass fucking beaten.
Right. And so I can only guess that Takada was so fearful of facing a legitimate MMA fighter that he had to fix his fight to get a win. And I don't hate Takada. He makes me sick. And this is the opening of a can of worms that will haunt Pride till the end of its days, because this was the beginnings of showing that Pride was corruptible, that Takada could buy off a fight. The Yakuza would eventually become involved, and fighters would be throwing fights because of the Yakuza and betting. And there is a very, very gross and disgusting fight featuring Takada to come. And I don't want to spoil this too early, because man, is it fucking good to talk about. I'll kind of tease you a little bit. When one of the biggest MMA stars in America fights against Takada and loses, I'm serious. And it's not Mark Kerr, but imagine a Mark Kerr.
Wow, no fucking shit.
Losing in the same fucking way as Kyle Sturgeon here to a stupid fucking heel hook. Giving it. So, whew, that's Pride number 5, Pride number 6. It is going to be fucking good when we finally talk about that. But anyway, that brings us to the end. Overall thoughts on the card? Much better?
Okay, I will say this. Overall, much better. Once again, it suffered from a very slow, very terrible start. Like I said, that first fight, 30 minutes was enough. 40 minutes made me almost want to shoot myself. The second fight should never have happened.
Yes.
But from there on, the fights were good. And the fights were solid, you know. And even this last one, even if it was fixed, it was still an amusing fight. I will say that.
And again, for all my shit talking of Takada, I don't hate the guy. I don't even really dislike him. I can see his benefits. He's a big star in Japan. He put together Pride, so I have him to thank for that. He made Pride, and it would become a huge thing that I love. But he's still...
My problem with him is this. Yes, he made Pride. He made all this. He's honestly not that good of a fighter.
No.
So, honestly, here's the thing is, if he creates Pride, power to him if he wants to add himself to every fucking card. I've got no problem with that. Hell, he wants to set himself up against, fight a toddler for all I fucking care. Just don't make yourself the main event.
Yeah, the main event for Pride number 4 is Nobuhiko Takada versus Rickson Gracie.
Oh my god. No, I will say this. I am 100% wanting to see this fight because I want to see, and it's one of those things where I know Takeda's going to lose. I just want to see if he learned any lessons whatsoever. I just want to see if he's improved.
We will see, and that will be Pride number 4, which would take place on October 11th in 1998, later that year, and we'll be back to cover that. Some of the highlights of that, and some of the fighters to watch out for in Pride number 4. Again, I said Gary Goodridge. It'll be our first, the first appearance of Igor Volchanshin, who would become a big mainstay in Pride.
He sounds Russian.
He is. You fucking think? So looking forward to that fight. Akira Shoji would return against Walid Ismail, who is from Brazil. I mentioned Daijiro Matsui would face off against Sine Kokuda. Hopefully that is not a 80-minute, 90-minute fight. Kazushi Sakuraba himself would face off against a Brazilian Alan Goes. I guess that's how you say it. We'd have 2. Naoki Sano. Yeah, Sano was...
Yeah, Sano was...
We saw him in Pride too. That fucking lump of shit. He's facing off against Satoshi Hanma. We also have Alexander Ahsoka versus Marco Ruas. Ooh, we get back Marco Ruas. And Mark Kerr, as I said, would face off against Hugo Durante. And then Hickson Gracie in the main event faces off against Nobuhiko Takada. That will be Pride number 4. We will be back next month for this event. And sadly, hopefully the Machine will return next month for Pride number 4. For me, the most dangerous man alive today.
And the Colombian Good Vibe.
Good Vibe.
On his birthday.
On his birthday. Happy birthday, Good Vibe. We wish you good luck, goodbye, sayonara, and we'll sniff you fucking jerks later.